Hi, everybody. It is Mike, 55 years young, and I am from aPlantBasedDiet.org. We're all about health span and longevity. And guess what? This is a long overdue video about labels. Okay, you may have heard that we're about health span and longevity. What do we talk about? We talk about health optimization, which is a balanced state of health that is verified by an absence of non-communicable disease. Notice we didn't mention anything about plant-based, vegan, fruit, or anything in there, okay? But this video serves to talk about the labels that people give themselves, okay? We only give ourselves the labels. I wouldn't even call it a label. I call it a framework. Because in order to achieve health optimization, we've determined there's a framework of the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine and the 6 pillars of healthy vegan food. Now, how does that relate to the other labels that are out there, like vegan, raw vegan, fruitarian, vegetarian, etc., etc.? Well, let's watch this video and let's find out what Mariah has to say.
I wanted to talk today about why I promote healthy veganism. Because it's one thing to go vegan.
Okay, she talks about promoting healthy veganism. I'll also throw in here that anybody who is raw vegan thinks that they're healthy veganism. Anybody who's vegetarian thinks they're healthy compared to the average American. Anybody who's fruitarian thinks they're doing the best that they can. I say fruitarian and raw vegan are kind of both in that regard. But those are all, if you think about it, and you'll learn here in this video, those are all ethical standards. They are not health standards. All right, and I want to make a difference, a distinction here between a health standard and an ethical standard, because we follow a health standard, one that is clearly defined and has an arrival point, so you know when you've gotten there. You could be raw vegan, you could be fruitarian, you could be vegan, you could be plant-based, you could be whole food plant-based, you could be, well, you can't be healthy vegan food, 6 pillars, but you could be all those other things and still have chronic illness, still have non-communicable disease. That's why health is our focus.
But it's another to obtain a level of health that will entice others to go towards veganism. I
also want to mention here that we have also defined another term on our website at aPlantBasedDiet.org. Just look up terms, definitions called sustainable veganism, because we've realized in our journey that most people practicing veganism are not doing it in a sustainable way. So in order to be sustainable and be vegan, and this is not an ethical stance, it's a definition of what it takes to be sustainable in terms of practicing your ethical stance of veganism. But we say you have to do everything as far as practicable and possible to not harm your health while practicing veganism. In order for it to be sustainable, all other forms of veganism are not sustainable.
You're a vegan and you do it only for the animal's sake, chances are you're going to be ingesting a lot of products that just have that little special V on it without even, considering your health as much as the animal's sake. See, I talk to a lot of people who only go vegan for the sake of the animals. And that's great. And, props to these people. But at the same time, if you're only doing it for the animals, what about yourself? What happens when you fall ill?
It's not sustainable. If you become ill, which you will, because we've seen these ethical only vegans, they're getting ill on a regular basis. And when you get chronically ill with an NCD, it's no longer sustainable. And if it's not sustainable, is it attractive to anybody? The answer is, to almost everyone, no, it's not.
You may be relying on pharmaceuticals. Those aren't vegan. It's
I don't know about pharmaceuticals not being vegan. They're chemicals. Unless they're derived from animal products, they're drugs or chemicals. We think they're bad for human health. But again, we're looking at it from a health perspective. I'd say that most pharmaceuticals probably are vegan. Correct me if I'm wrong there in the comments.
Snowball effect. And if you wish to entice others to go towards veganism, you need to become the best vegan version of yourself. I keep saying this. So how do we become healthy vegans? Well, the first step is to eliminate the processed foods.
All right, now so she's going to go through probably a little regimen of her own, but if you look, and I'll link down below a video that talks about, well, it actually is our little thesis or term paper on how we can eradicate non-communicable disease in humans. And it's a framework of the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine and the 6 pillars of healthy vegan food. I'm sure she'll touch on a few here, but we're watching this more to comment on just the whole label aspect, because most folks can't get off of that at all. They still can't get off of those labels.
Because the processed foods, let's face it, if it has more than one ingredient, it's not health promoting. When I go to a grocery store in the winter time, I only shop in one section. Fruits and vegetables. That's it. If it's not a fruit or a vegetable, if it's not a whole food, chances are it's not health promoting, truly. So what I really wanted to talk about, though,
also, you got to be as chemical free and as organic as possible. We talk about that in our 6-pillar healthy vegan food standard.
Here is labels and titles as well.
Here we go. Yes.
A lot of people are taking on these titles. You know, I'm a raw food vegan.
And again, these titles, let me unpause. Okay, these titles are not with exclusive focus on health. Keep this in mind. They are ethical stances. They are ethical titles. And hopefully by the end of this video, you will understand what I'm trying to say, and maybe you'll adopt a new way of looking at this.
Fruitarian. I'm a raw food vegan fruitarian. I'm
raw foodist, high raw vegan, etc., etc.
I'm a whichever, So these labels keep us boxed in. And what I'm noticing a lot, especially on a lot of my posts,
Oh, okay. What I'm noticing, I want to comment here, is the vegan infighting. That's something we've noticed. It's been a long-standing, unfortunate tradition of veganism as far back as veganism, whenever it started, is that every person who's doing it, not every person, but so many people in the vegan movement, they infight. They say, you're not really vegan, you're doing this wrong, etc., etc., etc. And the reality is the Watson definition of veganism, yes, it's an ethical stance, but it says as far as practicable and possible, you don't harm animals. Everybody knows there's no perfection, but again, you can choose your ethical label if you want, but we choose to focus on health optimization.
On Facebook, we have people who say are strictly fruitarian and they only eat fruits.
Oh, and we also want to clarify that we call our 6-pillar nutrition standard healthy vegan food 3 words, because vegan is the only way to quickly convey that there are no animal products without using more than one word. We want people to know right away that that's what it is. It's a no animal product diet.
Attacking other people who are eating, cooked vegan foods, for example. Come on, people.
Yeah, cooked vegan foods, and at what temperature? 118 degrees? Somehow up to 118, things are still living in there? Well, when was it cut from the plant? It could be dead because it was cut 6 months ago. Some apples are over a year old. I mean, some people say that the food's only living if it's raw, if it's actually picked right off the plant and you eat it immediately. What about frozen foods? They go down below freezing. Is it dead then? Is it resuscitated to life when you heat it up? These are all ethical standards. The question, if it's a health standard, we will look at that in a different way. We'll just look at, is it health harming or not? Because if it's not health harming, then it's not going to create non-communicable disease, and it's okay. Again, notice the difference in how we're looking at this through the lens of health optimization as opposed to through an ethical lens and, unfortunately, an infighting lens.
People, shouldn't we just be celebrating the fact that others are learning this path and they've eliminated animal products and the most toxic foods? Shouldn't we not be...
We should be celebrating the positive movement in people's individual journeys.
Attacking each other and celebrating the fact that more and more people are realizing that meats and eggs and dairy and processed foods are tearing down our health and causing us to rely on doctors and pharmaceuticals that don't truly know how to handle the dietary aspects of
Yeah, they're not going to claim to be able to heal anybody. Somebody told me, Dr. Peter Rogers, that the cure rate for high blood pressure is 0 because they'll never tell you they can be cured, even though it easily can. And what's your focus? Is it on doing the best you can for your health? Hopefully, that's where you are in your journey. If where you are in your journey is only that you want to take an ethical stance and that's it, that's different than health. So I'm trying to make that difference here. But you can be vegan and focus exclusively on health. And that's what we do as an organization, because we know that, according to Dr. T. Colin Campbell, the protein in animal products causes cancer in humans. That's why we're clarifying that we are a vegan organization.
Of health, and let's face it, what you bring into your body, that's everything. That's everything. Now, when I say what you bring into your body, that can be through your
eyes,
that's
ears.
Number one, through what you're seeing, what you're breathing, everything that we.
Yeah, so keep watching our channel, by the way. Keep watching some good content, listening to some motivation to allow you to progress through your journey. That's what I say. Oh, and by the way, go to our health optimization travel events, healthoptimizationtravel.org. We have a cruise in January, a safari in December. You can rent our house in a permaculture community, etc.
Contact with. Basically, we bring it in on some levels. So we have to be, pay close attention to our environment as well. Yes. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. I really, truly just wanted to speak about vegans. If you're gone vegan for the animals, that's great, but I hate to say it, but the best argument for veganism, to entice others to adopt a vegan diet, is health. Because yeah, I would agree. It sounds like she's from Canada too, with the boats, and I think she's actually in Florida right now. But regardless, I agree with the health, because if you're watching someone practice veganism and you're watching them get treatments in the hospital and you watched What the Health and they told you, that was a motivating movie, but unfortunately they told you that all you have to do is give up animal products and you're going to go way better, you're going to be almost perfect. That's not true. And the minute people realize that there was a bait and switch, they're not going to want to follow veganism anymore. People need to learn how to obtain health. And in this world, there's so much misinformation floating around and so many people giving out harmful dietary advice that people don't know what to think. So all we've got is us leading. That's it. I mean, there's so much conflicting information. The average person just raises their hands up in the air and says, I don't know what to think, and says, I guess this isn't important. By example. And you're not going to entice anyone to join the world of veganism if you're not at least in the process of becoming the best vegan version of yourself, Good point. If you're not taking care of yourself on some level, nobody else is going to, a few people do go vegan just for the animals, yes, but the majority of people, they need more incentive. They do, but it's not sustainable to go vegan without focusing on your health. This is why I focus on the health aspects. Yes, you know what? I went vegan for health. Now, as I cleaned up my body and got healthier, I began seeing more and more the cruelty and the unnecessary confinement and treatment of animals more opened up to me the healthier I became. So that's going to happen for everyone. And this is why I focus on health. And you know what? A lot of times I get attacked because I'm focusing on the health aspect and people are saying, I only do it for the animals. I don't care about my health. Well, that's what a lot of people will say. Unfortunately, that's a demotivator for the average American, because that means it's okay to make yourself chronically ill as long as the animals aren't suffering. And I actually would say that humans are going to be something that needs to be
We need to continue to exist as a species in a time where 90% of our medical costs are for non-communicable diseases. So that has to be at least 50% of the focus, in my opinion.
You should care about your health, because if you're only doing it for the animals, no one's going to want to do what you're doing. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is.
Yes.
So
Yes.
why don't we stop attacking each other? For whatever reason you go vegan, that should be celebrated. Whatever stage you're at along your journey, whether you're eating some cooked vegetables, whether you're eating all raw, whether you're eating fully fruits, whether you're...
She's talking here about the vegan infighting, and I fully agree. We should celebrate wherever anyone is, as long as they're open-minded. If someone's totally closed-minded, don't even bother trying there, okay? There's nothing to celebrate there either, okay? But if someone's open-minded, making progress and curious and in a state where they are involved in continuous learning, that's the best we can ask of somebody. And because of these labels getting in the way, it a lot of times turns people off, just because there are these labels. And if you notice, health optimization, that label doesn't change regardless of where somebody is on their journey. It's just an acknowledgement that there is a state we can get to where there will be a lack of non-communicable disease, and you have to follow this framework of habits, this framework for your lifestyle. It's not an ethical stance. It's because ethical stance is a lot of times viewed more like a religion, and this is one of the reasons why a lot of people won't ever go there.
Going back and forth, whichever, we should be celebrating each other within the vegan world and trying to educate those who are still eating the meat, dairy, eggs, and fast foods and processed foods about the detrimental effects of those foods on their health.
Yes, as long as they're willing to learn. Okay, you don't want to be talking to a brick wall or whatever. That's not a productive use of your limited time.
That's what we should be doing. You know, when I see fruitarians and vegans attacking each other and saying, oh, well, you're not a true vegan because...
By the way, I also want to mention that Fruitarian is an ethical stance. I'll put a link down below to a video from our neighbor Nico, where he talks about the 7 stages of ethical eating. It kind of gives you a good overview of the ethics of this, and why I'm saying, if you weren't familiar, that's why this infighting will take place from some individuals, because it's like different religions fighting in a way.
You know, I don't know, somebody ate some honey, yet the rest of their diet is fully plant-based. I've seen this before. And, you know, instead of attacking them, maybe educate them on why you feel honey isn't healthy, but don't attack them. That's just going to make them want to, you know, hit the road and maybe head towards...
Well, yeah, I would just mention, from a health perspective, that the protein in animal products, according to Dr. T. Colin Campbell, is a carcinogen. It causes cancer in humans. Okay, animal products also contain no fiber, and honey is a high-calorie dense food. So whenever you eat high-calorie density foods with no fiber, or all or most of the fiber removed, you will never be able to get enough fiber every day, which means your mental health will suffer. Those are the points I would bring up, just some facts like that.
Towards back, you know, like, I see a lot of unstable people, and I feel that this is indicative that they have a long ways to go on their journey still.
Yeah.
You know, like, I have fruitarians on my Facebook page, and I'm, you know, I've got a passage from Arnold Ehret's work where he used steamed vegetables as less aggressive dissolvers of mucus and poisons in the body when somebody is trying to heal.
Of course, infighting with raw vegans right there, right?
Combined with some fasting and combined with fruits and everything else.
Again, remember, from our perspective, focusing on health optimization, I would look at that steamed broccoli and I would say, is steamed broccoli a health-harming food? Yes or no? The answer, as far as I know, in 2025, with the knowledge and the evidence that's out there, is steamed broccoli is not a health-harming food. So as long as you're not experiencing some mysterious non-communicable disease that you have no idea where it came from, that's completely fine. Eat the steamed broccoli. You don't need to hyper-focus on raw vegan or not.
but I have some fruitarians coming onto my page saying, what are you doing promoting
Or Fruitarian.
steamed vegetables, cooked dead foods? Those are dead. Those are
Yeah, not just dead, but also Fruitarians believe that's an ethical stance as to why you want to eat just the fruit and certain types of fruit. So, watch that video below if you want to learn more.
dead foods. And it's like, okay, thank you for that, really. But you're missing the entire point, okay?
Well,
Healing must...
Here's the thing. They're not missing the point if they are focusing on and have as highest importance an ethical stance to their eating. All right. But they are missing the point if the goal is health optimization. That's why we've had to go through and define this, put the term on our website, give the framework. I've had to get the LLMs, which is ChatGPT and Grok, to tell me that yes, you can eradicate non-communicable disease in human with this framework that you have and achieve a state of health optimization. And then none of this infighting has to happen because it's just a waste of time.
It must be done in steps and stages in order for it to stick, in order to revert our physiology over slowly. Like there's a lot.
Epigenetics, which is the change in the expression of the output of your genes based on the inputs, aka the food.
A lot to learn. Yes, it is simple, but at the same time, there's still a lot to learn. And if you don't do things properly, you might end up being one of those people who jump into all fruits or all raw, and then suddenly, when these mucus and toxins come into circulation for elimination, you begin craving some...
Yeah, okay. It is possible. I know that people who are 100% raw vegan, 100% or 100% fruitarian, they may, not all, but they may, because I know all kinds of people, think that that's the only way to optimize your health. That is the only way to not have the non-communicable disease. But you still see people that do that are in states of non-communicable disease. And the wisest of the people that are raw vegan and the wisest of the people that are fruitarian will acknowledge that it's more of an experiment because we haven't documented any findings of health over long periods of time for people that have been fully compliant. And even as you'll learn about scientific studies, even in the best scientific studies, the people that are being observed generally are way less than 50% compliant with the requirements in the framework of the study, believe it or not.
Some crazy foods, and maybe you turn to a pizza. And then what? Well, if you transition slowly and revert yourself back slowly, that's not as likely to happen. And that's the whole point of a...
Yeah, she's right. You have to take it slow. And whenever you kind of take a step up, you get to that next level, the body always wants you to go back. It always wants to stay the same, which is kind of weird, even if you're making a good choice. And for some of the reasons that she just explained.
A slow transition diet. So people, just enjoy the journey.
Yeah, enjoy it.
And celebrate the fact that people are learning and that they're getting away from a lot of these foods. And
that's it. She mentioned that word, learning. As long as you're learning, it's all good. As long as you're learning, there won't be any infighting. The infighting happens, in my opinion, because people have stopped learning. That's one reason. Okay. The other reason would be that they are only concerned about ethics. And if they are, you're going to find that person only concerned about ethics is typically not going to be open-minded enough to have a discussion about health and about optimizing health.
And if they have to eat some cooked foods to get there, so be it. You know? That's why I don't like these labels. I don't like to even call myself...
And by the way, when we ask the LLMs if our framework works for eradicating non-communicable disease from human, which by the way doesn't specify raw or cooked, because if you do cooked food, you got to do it correctly in a way that doesn't harm your health. It said that was it. It didn't say that raw was needed. It doesn't say that raw was required to eradicate non-communicable disease. Did not say that.
Vegan, because The movement's got such a bad reputation. Anyways, I don't edit, so the movement's got such a bad
reputation.
like name now. It does, because we have people attacking other people, and then we have all these unhealthy vegans that don't entice anybody to want to become a vegan. You know, if you're eating a lot of
She's right. The combination of vegan infighting along with people that are 100% vegan that are chronically ill is not attractive to others.
Complex carbohydrates, a lot of rice, a lot of grains, a lot of starchy stuff, your health is probably going to decline. Or if you're eating a lot of soy milk and things like this. Anyways, I'm getting off topic again, but we need people to learn the truth, lead by example, become the best vegan versions or whatever version, plant-based version or raw version of yourself that you can become, and help others get there.
Yeah.
You know?
Unfortunately, she is talking about health. I think we're both in agreement here, myself and Mariah, about the results of your health mattering the most. The results for us meaning an eradication of non-communicable disease. That's the goal for us. The question is, what's the goal for you? Because if it's just ethics, then it's not the eradication of non-communicable disease. And that's what human race really needs right now, if you ask me.
Truly. And if you are one of these, you know, there's a specific fruitarian, and I'm not going to name any names, but he promotes fruitarianism, and he's got a long way to go in his health. He's very, very pale, yet he's in a tropical country. He's eating only fruits, apparently, and he's...
Yeah, keep in mind, fruitarianism is just an ethical stance for what you are eating. It does not take into consideration the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine, all right, or the 6 pillars of healthy vegan food, because there are some fatty fruits out there, and you should not ever have any kind of foods that are higher than 10% calories from fat. Of course, that means you've got to moderate the nut seeds and avocados, and of course things like durian and other fatty fruits.
Very, very thin, like skin and bones thin. Now, I'm not saying that you...
That's called an eating disorder. If your BMI is below normal, that's what that's called, an eating disorder. Your BMI must be somewhere within that normal range, and it's a wide, wide range. There's no excuse why somebody who claims, at least, to be focusing on their health can't and shouldn't be in that normal range.
Are not doing this path correctly, but maybe get yourself to a point where you're in a place of health before you start promoting fruitarianism, because...
But again, I don't know if Mariah realizes this or not. Maybe I'll reach out to her, but fruitarianism is an ethical stance on eating. It is an ethical stance. It is not about health optimization. Health optimization is outside of any of these labels. And you could achieve health optimization through fruitarianism if you're still meeting the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine and the 6 pillars of healthy vegan food. By the way, learn more at healthyveganfood.info if you want info on those 6 pillars. All this is going to be down below as well.
When people see the state that you're in at this point, it's not going to entice others to want to eat fruits. In fact, it's more likely to put others off of eating fruits. And we don't want this. I mean, fruits, when picked ripe and are grown...
This is a whole other thing. Unripe fruit is not meant for human consumption. It's got to be ripe. It's one of the reasons you have colored vision. That's a whole other topic.
...properly are some of the most healthy foods on the entire planet, the most hydrating, amino acid rich, healthy foods.
When grown properly, like she says.
And if you're not quite there yet, if you haven't mastered or, discovered or healed yourself, maybe it's time to take a step back, learn this. It's not a competition, there's no race, there's no timeline.
Okay, I know I'm being a little repetitive, but I need to make sure you understand this if you've gotten this far in the video. Any of these labels are really ethical standards, almost like little religions. If it's about health, you need to be able to define that. I know even Mariah, I don't know if she has defined that, but we have defined that. Health optimization is a fully balanced state of health that's indicated by a lack of non-communicable disease. And the framework for achieving that is the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine combined with the 6 pillars of healthy vegan food. And yeah, you could do it as a fruitarian. You can. But you have to be mindful of the framework of health, which all our framework does is align you as closely as possible with nature. That's what it does. It aligns the human body as close as possible with nature.
I wasn't making videos when I first began because I knew that I had to get myself healthy before I could promote it to others. I knew I had to live it for a while. So I'm just saying that if you're not in a state of health and you're still trying to figure out how to get there, it's probably best not to go around saying that fruits are the ideal food.
I would also agree with this. This is a little off topic, but so many people out here in this space, I don't know what you want to call it, but we call it health optimization, health span longevity. They don't even follow their own recommendations. They don't do what they say they're doing. And when you look at them, you can tell. So we only care about results. The people out there, if they're going to have to focus on food and habits like they've never done before, they need to know that you're going to have some real positive results. And I fully agree. You've got to have obtained the results before you can explain to someone how to get them. All right, because no one ever even tells you. This isn't taught in school. The doctors don't even tell you this for the most part. But by the way, see a lifestyle medicine doctor that's board certified in lifestyle medicine. That's your best chance here to find one.
Foods for humans while looking really frail and skinny and pale and yourself, because that's not gonna.
Or the opposite is also true. Overweight. The fat vegans look no different than someone eating the standard American diet, and that is not appealing to people that don't want to suffer. They don't want their health to suffer.
Entice others to go towards fruitarianism either. So we just need to have a rational approach to things. And if you're having craving.
Oh, and by the way, I'm not trying to discourage anyone from their path, wherever they are in their health, because we all have to start somewhere. I started when my cholesterol was 201 at age 30. I'm 55 now. But if you're in the space of guiding people, I think that's what she's getting at. You have to already be there. And the other part is, if you're hyper fixated on these labels, it's probably, this is one of the reasons why it's bad, is because there are people out there that they look sick and they're hyper fixated on labels. That doesn't serve anyone well.
Things and you're a raw food vegan or you're a fruitarian and you must eat something else, don't feel guilty, but don't turn to like a pizza with cow's milk on it or anything either, Eat some steamed vegetables and stop worrying about your label. I mean, we all mess up once in a while. It's just how we handle that situation.
Oh, and by the way, since we focus on health optimization, you'll read this in my book, Live to 150, totally free. Listen to it like a podcast or audio book. It's about habit changes. I say you can have a cheat meal. As long as you're 95% compliant, lined up with nature, it's okay. You can do that, okay? But that has to be extremely rare. But it doesn't mean you're like someone who has a label. I said, oh, your cheat meal, I'm raw vegan, and your cheat meal was a vegan cupcake, that means you're no longer raw vegan. This is what we're talking about. This does not serve anyone in their health journey.
In that moment is what counts, right? And if we have the knowledge to navigate through these situations to the best of our ability, we're going to make better choices.
Yeah.
We don't want people jumping from meat eating straight into fruit eating. And then, like I said, when those toxins and poisons come into circulation, or when the fungus acts up, or when the parasites start, sending out signals that you're craving meat, then you have this crazy fallback and you go and eat some meat or big pizza or something. It's like, if you learn how to transition slowly, if you learn the mucusless diet principles.
Okay, I think she's kind of getting off topic. We're going to stop this here. I'll link the video down below if you want to watch it. But the whole idea, hopefully if you watched all this video, and you need to, I think, to fully understand this, all the labels that are of a concern, they're all ethical stances. However, the most important thing, health is wealth. The most important thing is your health. If the reason why someone's fruitarian or raw vegan, I'll bring those out specifically because they're the most specific, is in it for health, they should realize that as long as someone, let's say they can have a slip up, like she says, you can have a cheat meal, but they're like, you're out, you had to slip up a cheat meal. But it shouldn't be like that. It should be that you have a goal of health optimization, and that's what's lacking in the labels, is the goal of health optimization, the definition of health optimization, a fully balanced state of health that is proven, really, by a lack of non-communicable disease. As long as you can do that, and by the way, that's what I have right now. I'm maintaining it. You got to maintain it. Once you're there, you don't just get there and you're done. You got to maintain it with all your good habits, which I'm thankful for you watching this video, because you're going to help me. Make a comment here or share this with somebody that can benefit. I'm an optimist, so I do believe that eventually all non-communicable disease will be gone, and all need for these labels will be gone. And all we need to talk about is health optimization. So have a great next meal, whatever you're going to have, and I hope it's not health harming. And I'll see you in the next video.